Welcome to Coruzant Technologies, home of the Digital Executive Podcast.
Welcome to the Digital Executive. Today's guest is Jose Caya Cayasso. Jose Caya Cayasso, co-founder and CEO at Slidebean, is a celebrated figure in the tech startup space. Graduating from Universidad Veritas with a licentiate degree in digital 3D animation, Caya has been running tech startups for the last decade. Caya's journey with startups began in 2011 with the launch of an iOS game called Potatos, which he co-founded and created 3D images and designs for. In the beginning stages of Potatos, when Caya and his team were trying to raise capital, Caya pitched hundreds of investors. At the time, Potatos was in concept phase, and their pitch deck mission was to translate and ultimately sell the dream and the design of the game to investors. Well, good afternoon, Caya. Welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot for having me.
Awesome, Caya. I appreciate it. Hailing out of the great state of New York, and we're going to get this day started with an amazing podcast and how you're helping startups. So jumping into the questions, Caya, you have quite the career in digital media, marketing. You're a serial entrepreneur, which is, I think, outstanding. And now the co-founder and CEO of Slidebean. Could you share with our audience the secret to your career growth and what inspires you?
So I'm honestly inspired by what other people have been able to achieve with their companies. That's always been exciting to me. Even some of my peers and some of the people that I've had a chance to meet through this whole process. Like when I see their companies reach millions of people and impact millions of people, not necessarily in a social kind of way, but simply building a product that a lot of people use on a regular basis. That's incredibly exciting to me. And I always sort of use that to measure myself against. And, having the chance to meet some of these awesome entrepreneurs that I get to call friends or at least acquaintances sort of keeps raising the bar for me.
I love that. And I think the startup community is really, there's always a lot of excitement, enthusiasm around that. So it's easy to kind of get sucked into all that. And I think that's awesome. It kind of, it really gets us to jump out of the bed in the morning. So appreciate the share on that. So we're going to talk a little bit about this pandemic. We've all had to make sacrifices during this lockdown, but what are your plans for your business growth going forward? And will it be any different than the time we were locked down?
Yeah, I guess the pandemic was a bit of a test for everyone, right? For us, the first thing we managed to do was, if you remember the very early days of the pandemic, we were able to send everybody home, confident that we could continue being productive while being remote. So our office was empty for months before we started slowly coming back. And that's probably the biggest transformation we had. We accepted our new hybrid model and we sort of understood that that's the way to go. I'm still a believer in office collaboration. So I'm still a believer in stuff that you can achieve when you run into someone on the hallway or when you have lunch with a coworker or when people bond because they came to the happy hour, right? So I still believe in that, but we are much more willing to be remote or hybrid moving forward, which in a way opens a lot of possibilities, in terms of hiring and recruiting. Again, we want the team to meet each other, to see each other at least once a year, but they don't have to be in the same office anymore.
Yeah, the hybrid model is certainly interesting. I think we do need to have that human connection. Everybody's different, but I think it's important that we recognize some of the changes and adapt to what we need to look forward to in the months and years ahead. As you know, I don't think the pandemic's going to go away anytime soon. So, Caya, you're obviously leveraging some new and emerging technologies within your tech stack. Is there anything you can share with us today?
So the biggest thing we've leveraged is a couple of artificial intelligence technologies that we've implemented. So for Slidebean, for the presentation product, we implemented a couple of libraries that essentially, first take your presentation, let me start from scratch. So on Slidebean, which is our presentation product, the big premise was that you input the content and our platform designs it for you automatically. Like that was the big change that we made compared to how other platforms work. And we first started doing that with a bunch of rules, but that eventually just doesn't work. So now we built this AI that essentially creates thousands of slide iterations in a second and finds the perfect slide within those 1,000 iterations. So what's a perfect slide? Well, it's a slide where the heading is aligned correctly, where the elements are aligned correctly between themselves, where images are as big as possible, where text is readable. And those are things we look for, those traits in the slides. That's probably example one. The other example that we have is a new kind of satellite product that we launched to Slidebean, to this fundraising platform, which is called Recurring, recurring.co. So Recurring is this expense tracking. We came across this problem ourselves where we were spending a lot of money on SaaS platforms, $30,000, $40,000 a month, and we needed to sort of keep control of that. And we couldn't find a tool to do it, so we built it. And then with Recurring, we implemented this technology that scans people's invoices. So a lot of people are reluctant to connecting their bank accounts or their QuickBooks to this platform to kind of track their expenses. So what we figured to do was, well, what if you only have to forward your invoices? But in order to do that, we had to build this little set of rules and AI to sort of scan and convert PDFs or invoices or receipts in any format that they come, and sort of understand them and say, okay, this is a receipt from this company for this price. This is how we're going to log it.
Love how you've kind of, I hate to say this word pivot, but you have kind of pivoted with your business, just the way you came out with the idea, and then that multiple, I guess, iterations of it have really improved what your offering is now. So I appreciate the share on that. And then Caya, last question here. Could you share something from your career experience that might be helpful for those looking to grow their career in either marketing or entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I'm actually going to jump on what you just said, Brian, on pivoting, because a lot of people don't like the idea of pivoting, but I think that is probably one of my secrets. You have to learn when to pivot. And, a lot of the messaging around entrepreneurship goes along the lines of not giving up, of persevering, trying as hard as you can. And yes, but that sometimes comes along with pivots, right? It comes along with understanding that your first product or your first audience premises were incorrect, and that you have to accept that and pivot into something else. So in the end, the life of a startup is just how many pivots they can make until they find the perfect product, the perfect audience, what we like to call product market fit, right? So how many pivots can you make to find product market fit before you run out of money? That's essentially the startup equation.
Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. And, your definition around pivoting is certainly interesting. And I hope that people take this to heart. And I'm sure some of our our audience will resonate with that. So thank you again. And Caya, I just want to let you know, it's been a pleasure having you on today. And I look forward to speaking with you real soon.
Awesome. Thanks a lot for having me, Brian.
Bye for now.